Alright guys, it is Monday, November 30th, 2020 at 11:16 p.m. Alright, let's take a look at these headlines. We have Asteroid Watch from the Jet Propulsion Laboratory and California Institute of Technology with NASA. Here are the next 5 Earth approaches within 4.6 million miles. On December 1st, tomorrow, we have 2020 SO, which is 19 feet in size, about the size of a car, and 31,400 miles from Earth. That is very close. Usually, asteroids you see here are either 3 million or 217,000 or 4 million, but these are getting very close. Alright, December 2nd, we have 2019 XH2, which is 18 feet in size, about the size of a car, and this one will be 3,840,000 miles from Earth. On December 3rd, we have 2020 VZ6, which is 100 feet in size, or the size of a jet plane, and it will be 217,000 miles from Earth. That is close as well. The 31,400 is closer, but December 3rd is also close, 217,000 miles. That's not that far. As well as December 3rd, we have 2020 WB4, which is 54 feet in size, about the size of a small house. It will be 362,000 miles from Earth. So we're getting a couple of close to Earth asteroids. And then December 3rd, 2020 WD5, which is 460 feet in size, but the size of a building. This is the largest one out of the 5, and it will be 4,050,000 miles away from Earth. But we have these 3. We have 2020 SO, which is 31,400 miles. That is the closest. The second closest is 2020 VZ6, which is 217,000 miles. And then December 3rd as well, we have WB4, which is 362,000 miles from Earth. So keeping an eye on these asteroids. Hopefully nothing happens. Alright, next. Here comes the COVID-19 baby bust. The US could have hundreds of thousands of fewer births next year than it would have in the absence of a pandemic. By now, the pandemic has disrupted Americans' daily lives for nearly as long as a baby typically spends in the womb, which means that many children conceived in mid-March are weeks away from joining us in a disorienting new world. But just as notable are the children who won't be joining us. The babies who have been born were not for the ongoing economic and public health crisis. These missing births, which could end up numbering in the hundreds of thousands in the US, will make up what's called the COVID baby bust. One would think a baby bust would take at least 9 months to reveal itself, but traces of one seem to have already appeared. As Philip Coing, a sociologist at the University of Maryland, has noted, births started to decline in California and Florida during the summer. That'd be too soon, though, to reflect a drop in conceptions during the pandemic, or a rise in abortions or miscarriages, which tend to happen earlier in the pregnancy. 3 possible explanations, Cohen told me, are errors or lags in states' data on births, large numbers of pregnant people moving during the pandemic and giving birth in another state, or large unexpected drop-offs in births, which have already been going to happen regardless of the pandemic. The first is probably incorrect. California and Florida's health departments told me that they weren't aware of any delays in reporting data. The second is possible, but a little hard to believe. Cohen thinks the third is the likeliest. It might actually be that we are already heading for a record drop in births this year. He said, if this is the case, then the birth rates of 2021 are going to be even more shockingly low. So, possibility of low birth rates in the United States. That also coincides with the Japanese had made a video, I think a couple of months ago, of the Japanese birth rate being really, really low, and there being a lot of older people in Japan compared to barely any children at all. So, is that the road that the United States is going to be taking? Lower birth rates because of COVID-19. Something to keep in mind. Also, next, Airlines set sights on digital passports for COVID-19 vaccine. Uh-oh, guys. The travel industry is moving ahead with plans to ensure a coronavirus vaccine means tourism and travel, both domestically and internationally, can be quickly be reviewed. Industry leaders are coordinating with efforts to create a digital passport that would say whether a passenger has been vaccinated for COVID 19. The International Airport Association announced this week it is in the final phase of development for what it hopes will be universally accepted documentation that in turn could boost confidence amongst wary travelers. The digital health pass could include a passenger's testing and vaccine information and would manage and verify information among governments, airlines, laboratories, and travelers. Testing is first a key to enable international travel without quarantine measures. The second key is a global information infrastructure needed to securely manage, share, and verify test data matched with traveler identities in compliance with border control requirements, Alexandra de Jurnac said in a statement on Monday. The pass would enable travelers to find verified testing centers and labs at their point of departure and meet the standards and requirements of their destination to avoid quarantine rules and travel restrictions. So here's the thing, you're basically forcing people to take the vaccine. If you don't have the vaccine, you won't be able to travel. That already happened in Qantas airline um, earlier in this month. Qantas Airlines said that they would not uh, allow people to travel unless they had the vaccine. So basically, this vaccine is mandatory if you want to travel. And you'd have to get this new passport that lets them know that you have the COVID vaccine. My question is, are they gonna do this for groceries and for not just the Ticketmaster venue, which I had covered earlier? You know, saying, oh, you can't, if you don't have the COVID vaccine, you can't enter Ticketmaster and you can't go to concerts. So pretty much this is just cascading into you not being able to go to stores, possibly not going into travel, not going to concerts if you don't get this vaccine. And that's kind of messed up. How are you going to force people to get a vaccine if they don't want to get it? That's something to keep in mind. And next, China's Change 5 China's Change E5 poised for historic moon landing to collect lunar samples. China has reached a major milestone in its quest to bring home moon rocks, with its Change 5 mission spacecraft separating into two pairs of vehicles in preparation for the lunar landing. Change 5 spacecraft launched on November 23rd, intent on becoming the first mission to bring lunar samples to Earth since 1976. The mission reached lunar orbit on November 28th, according to China's state-run agency Xinhua. The mission orbited a return vehicle and its lander-ascender vehicle separated in lunar orbit yesterday, November 29th, at 3:40 p.m. Eastern Time. That move sets the stage for a landing near the peak of Mons Rumeur, a mountain in the Oceanus Procellarum Ocean of Storms region of the Moon. The spacecraft is performing well, and communication with ground control is normal, officials with China's National Space Administration said, according to Xinhua. The lunar orbiter and the return spacecraft will continue circling the moon, while the lander ascend vehicle will head toward the lunar surface at a time yet to be announced by China. The landing should happen soon, as the solar-powered Changer 5 lander will only 2 weeks or 1 lunar day in which to collect the samples. The Change 5 mission is expected to last 23 days in all, CNSA officials have said. So China is headed towards the moon to collect lunar rocks. Alright guys, that's it for this video. Hit like and subscribe for more news, and see you guys next time. Pray for everybody having to deal with COVID, those who are sick, and for those people who have to possibly travel now in the future. having to deal with trying to get passports. Alright, guys, pray for everybody, and God bless you guys. See you guys next time.